Today our topic is why philosophy is more relevant than ever today. In a world that moves fast, where technology changes how we live every day, and where we face big challenges like climate change, political problems, and personal stress, philosophy is not just an old subject from the past. It is a tool, a guide, and a way of thinking that can help us understand and deal with these challenges. Philosophy teaches us how to think, not what to think. It asks big questions about life, meaning, and how we should act. These questions are not just for scholars or students. They are for everyone, because everyone faces them in their own way. Let's start with motivation. Many people today feel lost or stuck. They look for motivation in books, videos, or quotes, but often these are just quick fixes. Philosophy, especially Stoicism, offers something deeper. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. This is very powerful because much of our stress comes from trying to control things that are outside our power. For example, we cannot control the weather, other people's opinions, or the past, but we can control our own actions, thoughts, and attitudes. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change and to work hard on what we can. This is not just a nice idea. It is a practical way to live. It helps us stay calm in difficult situations and to keep moving forward even when things are hard. Another reason philosophy is important today is that it helps us think critically. In the age of the internet, we are surrounded by information, but not all of it is true or useful. Philosophy teaches us to question, to analyze, and to think logically. It helps us see the difference between good arguments and bad ones, and to make better decisions. For example, when we hear a politician speak or read a news article, philosophy can help us ask, is this true? What is the evidence? What are the assumptions behind this? This is important because in a world full of fake news and misinformation, critical thinking is like a shield that protects us from being misled. Philosophy also helps us understand ourselves and others better. One of the oldest philosophical questions is, what is the good life? This is not just about money or success, but about meaning and happiness. Different philosophers have different answers, but they all agree that the good life is about more than just material things. It is about relationships, virtues, and purpose. For example, Aristotle believed that the good life is about developing our virtues, like courage, honesty, and kindness. He thought that by becoming better people, we can live a fulfilling life. This is very relevant today because many people feel empty even when they have everything they want. Philosophy reminds us that true happiness comes from within, from living a life of meaning and purpose. Another important aspect of philosophy is ethics, which is the study of right and wrong. In a world where we face many ethical dilemmas, like how to treat the environment, how to use technology, or how to deal with inequality, philosophy provides a framework for thinking about these issues. For example, utilitarianism is a philosophy that says we should do what brings the greatest good to the greatest number of people. This can help us think about policies or actions that affect many people, like climate change or healthcare. On the other hand, Kantian ethics focuses on the idea that we should treat people as ends in themselves, not as means to an end. This means we should respect everyone's dignity and rights, and not use them for our own benefit. These ideas are not just abstract. They can guide us in making ethical decisions in our daily lives. Philosophy also teaches us about resilience and how to deal with failure. Life is full of ups and downs, and no one can avoid failure completely. But philosophy, especially Stoicism, teaches us how to face failure with courage and dignity. The Stoics believe that failure is not something to be feared, but an opportunity to learn and grow. They thought that by accepting failure as a natural part of life, we can become stronger and more resilient. This is very relevant today, because many people are afraid of failure and avoid taking risks. But without risk there can be no growth. Philosophy reminds us that failure is not the end, but a step on the path to success. Another reason why philosophy is important today is that it helps us deal with uncertainty. We live in a world that is constantly changing, and it can be hard to predict what will happen next. This can make us feel anxious and insecure. But philosophy teaches us to embrace uncertainty and to see it as a natural part of life. For example, the ancient philosopher Heraclitus said that the only constant in life is change. He believed that by accepting change we can find peace and stability within ourselves. This is very relevant today because many people are afraid of change and try to hold on to the past. But philosophy reminds us that change is inevitable and that we can learn to adapt and thrive in an uncertain world. Philosophy also helps us connect with others. In a world that is increasingly divided, philosophy can bring people together by encouraging dialogue and understanding. Philosophers like Socrates believed that through conversation and questioning, we can find common ground and learn from each other. This is very important today because we live in a world where people often talk past each other instead of listening. Philosophy teaches us to listen, to be open-minded, and to seek the truth together. It reminds us that we are all human and that we all share the same basic questions about life and meaning. Finally, philosophy helps us find meaning in life. In a world where many people feel lost or disconnected, philosophy offers a way to find purpose and direction. For example, existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus believe that life has no inherent meaning, but that we can create our own meaning through our choices and actions. This is very empowering because it means that we have the power to shape our own lives and to find our own purpose. Philosophy reminds us that we are not just passive observers of life, but active participants who can make a difference. In conclusion, philosophy is more relevant than ever today because it helps us navigate the complexities of modern life. It teaches us how to think critically, how to live ethically, and how to find meaning and purpose. It helps us deal with failure, uncertainty, and change, and it connects us with others. Philosophy is not just an academic subject. It is a way of life that can help us live better, happier, and more fulfilling lives. So, if you ever feel lost or stuck, remember that philosophy is there to guide you. It is a timeless tool that can help you understand yourself and the world around you, and to live a life of wisdom, courage, and virtue.